What the heck? Look at the freaking water. It was sunny out here 15 minutes ago. Oh my God, look at the roads. Cabin life. Making some raisin bread waffles this morning. No big recipe really. I'm just making French toast. I like to do it with cinnamon raisin bread, a couple eggs, some milk, a little cinnamon. The thing that I'm doing different though is I'm not making them in a pan. I'm throwing the French toast into the waffle iron. And it changes the flavor a little bit. And it makes it a lot like waffles. But I think they're actually a little bit better than a waffle. For these to come out really good, you got to have your waffle iron really hot. I'm not sure if an electric waffle iron will get hot enough. I don't have one to experiment with. Most of you are familiar with this one here. This is a 1925 Montgomery Ward's waffle iron that I restored. This thing is a gem. It's made a lot of waffles in this kit. That's the beauty of these cast iron waffle makers. You can get them as hot as you want. Makes that French toast nice and crispy. They're really good. Look at that. French toast waffles. Does that smell good to you? It does? I like to get that bread nice and soaked. Those raisins really sweeten up when they get heated like that. Oh. Good stuff. Ah, look at that. Huh? Those are some good French toast right there. Bon appetit!
Whenever you see me kicking around out in the woods, I always have a pack on my back. Sometimes it's just a fanny pack strung over a shoulder, or a little backpack or a pack basket. People are always asking me what I carry in my pack. They ask me if I carry survival gear and that sort of thing. Well, now that it's hunting season across the country, I'll show you the contents of my hunting pack. There might be a few tidbits of information in there that you might find beneficial. So I'm going to go ahead and empty my pack and I'll show you what I got going on. Now the contents of my pack will change depending on where I'm hunting. When I was hunting out in New York, hunting farmland, most of the time I was hunting a block of woods just surrounded by roads. I didn't need all kinds of survival gear in that situation. Hunting out here where I'm surrounded by miles of forest, even some of these areas where your cell phone reception is very, very spotty. If you get injured out there, break a leg or whatever, you might end up in a survival situation. So my contents has changed a little bit. I'll show you my pack. The first item I carry is a stainless steel container of water. Even if I'm not in a survival situation, if I'm out there dragging a buck, I'm out there half the night, maybe I'm on a blood trail, having this water is worth the effort in carrying it, I'll tell you what. But if I'm way out there and I got injured or I got lost, you can't survive without water. I have a stainless steel container that doesn't have any plastic on it except for the cap. And the reason is, if I need to purify water, I can use this container to boil it and then put the cap on and store it. It's worth the effort in carrying it. For hunting, I always have a roll of flagging. Okay? Get on a blood trail, you're marking your blood trail, you gotta have it. I have my hunting knife. Believe it or not, this knife has field dressed about 130 deer, give or take. I got it as a present when I moved to my very first cabin when I was 21 years old. It's got some mileage on it. The tip is broken off. That's from trying to pry a broadhead out of the spine of a deer years and years ago. Heck of a knife. It's a little old-timer knife. Wonderful knife. I have my deer drag. This is really nothing more than a loop of rope. And I put a piece of plastic tubing because it's easier on my hands. Got my deer drag. Lots and lots of little LED flashlights. I probably have 6 or 8 of them in here. If I'm on a blood trail, I don't want anything pulling me off of that blood trail. And you're going to hear me say that about a few different items in my pack. Some rubber gloves. It's not a must-have for field dressing the deer, but it certainly makes it a lot cleaner. Right here in this little pack, I have these glow sticks like kids use at Halloween. Why would I have glow sticks, right? I put a little piece of wire on them, just like that, so I can hang them on a branch like a Christmas ornament. When I'm out tracking blood, and then maybe I can't find any more blood, I lose the trail, I'll crack open a glow stick, get it glowing, and hang it where the last blood was. That way I can grid search in the dark and not just be wasting time. I can use this as a reference. No, I'm grid searching in the right direction. I come across another bit of blood, another drop, crack open another glow stick. Now in the pitch black, I can see the direction that this deer has been traveling, and that can put me on track, often to find more blood, get back on the trail. Then I go back and I pick up my glow sticks and I pull them with me until I have to repeat that scenario. These things are fantastic. I'm going to put links down below for a lot of the stuff that I carry. In the bottom of my pouch, I have a lightweight raincoat. I really like this one. It's a Frog Togs. Doesn't weigh anything. Even if it's not raining, if I'm out there and I need to spend a night, maybe I got injured, I'm going to be laying on the ground, have this beneath me. It's a little bulky, but it doesn't weigh anything. I always have an extra compass in my pack in case the other one got lost. And a pair of Walmart readers. Not that I'm planning on doing any reading out there, but I'm getting older. Eyesight's not as good as it used to be. The Walmart readers helps me find blood, especially when the ground is covered with red leaves. These things, they're worth having. Makes a big difference looking for blood out there. Another item, I don't carry it with me at this time of the year, but when I'm in the warmer weather and I'm out in the woods, I take it with me. It doesn't weigh anything. And if you're stuck in the woods overnight in warm weather, aside if you have an injury, what is going to make you the most uncomfortable? Bugs, mosquitoes plaguing down on you. Picture if you had a broken hip or a broken leg, you're spending the night in the woods. I want to stay comfortable. This is a cheap bug jacket. It doesn't cost very much. I might have been, I don't know, 15 bucks or something that I bought it. Doesn't weigh anything. Put this on. It's going to keep the bugs off of you all night long. It is worth it. I have one of these when I go fishing. It's worth the money. Another item in my pack is a tampon. Why do I have a tampon in my pack, you ask? They do make good dispensers for your buck and doe scent. They even got a convenient little string you can hang it with. But that's not why I have it. I take blood trailing very, very seriously. There's a lot of hunters that just tick me off because I hear it over and over and over again every year. Someone shoots one in the evening and they go, well, we'll go look for it in the morning. Well, a lot of leaves can fall in the night. Could be raining. A lot of stuff to mess up that blood trail. And the coyotes will get to it. A lot of deer get lost. Why? Because hunters are afraid to be in the woods after dark. So if I'm helping somebody track a deer and they keep coming up with all these excuses why they need to get out of the woods after dark, I've got work in the morning or whatever, or I throw them the Tampon because they need it more than I do. Sorry, I tell it like it is, and that's the way it is. And to answer a question I've had just recently, when I'm up in a tree stand and I got to pee, what do? Do I pee out of the tree stand? Do I climb down and pee? Neither. I pee in my tree stand. I don't go through all of this effort to make myself and my clothing as scent-free as possible and then start whizzing off of the platform. I carry a bottle with me, okay? If I have to pee, I pee in the bottle. I'll tell you what, if it's a really cold day and your hands are really cold, you pee in the bottle, then hold on to the bottle, you can warm your fingers up. I know some city folk will get grossed out about that. And I mark my bottle. See that? I know I probably offended somebody, but I offend people no matter what I do. So this is it. This is the real me. This ain't effing apple juice. I put stuff in individual Ziploc bags. I like it that way. If I want fire starting material, it's all in one bag. If I'm out in a survival situation, I have some bags. I kill an animal, catch a fish, harvest berries, whatever. I got bags to store it in, okay? If one bag leaks, I have other bags. I don't have all my eggs in one basket. I've got my little cotton balls in the Vaseline like I showed you, matches, Bic lighter, and a candle. Instead of trying to use several matches to light a fire, I use one match to light the candle and then use the candle to get other things lit. This candle will burn a long time. Toilet paper. That's a must-have. I don't care how tough you are. Another item in my pack is several feet of heavy-duty aluminum foil. I've carried foil in my pack since I was a kid. Lots of uses for this. You can cook an animal in it, signal a plane, put it behind your fire to reflect the heat back at you. Lots of uses for this. I always carry a rag, an orange rag, a red bandana, something like that. After I field dress a deer, cleaning off my knife before I put it back in the sheath, wiping my hands. I never have a white rag out there. You don't want to be waving around a white rag out in the deer woods. You get some trigger happy hunter out there. It's not worth it. Always have a colored one. A few of the twisty ties, the bigger and longer the better. These are handy. Tie your deer tag to the antlers or on an ear. If I'm field dressing a deer and there's still a bunch of urine in the bladder, I remove the bladder, I twist it up, a few twist ties, in a Ziploc bag it goes. Deer urines cost about $7 for an ounce in the store. Most of the hunters I know just dump it out on the ground when they're field dressing the deer. I keep that bladder. I always carry a few snacks with me, some protein bars and that sort of thing. The first aid equipment, I've rarely ever needed it, but if you find yourself in a situation where you do need it and you don't have it, you're going to wish you did. I just carry the basics. A lot of gauze, tape, a few band-aids and stuff for small injuries, like if I cut my hand while I'm gutting a fish or something like that. I have an ace bandage in here. That comes in really handy for a lot of uses. If you're hunting in those rubber boots that don't give you a lot of ankle support, you twist your ankle. Of course, you use it for that. If I have a wound, a big wound, and I have to tape a gauze to myself, the ace bandage is good. And I have one of these cheap little space blankets. They don't cost very much. They don't weigh anything. Retain your body heat if you just got to spend the night out in the woods. There's been more than one occasion helping a friend track a blood trail. We're out all night long because I don't want to give up. If I need to spend the night out in the woods, maybe we find the deer. We're way out there. We're going to poke an eye out, frickin' die from exhaustion or something, trying to get out of the woods. We bunk out for the night. Get a fire going. Use that tin foil to reflect the heat back at you. Space blanket behind you. Good shape. Well, it's starting to rain on my parade, but that's okay. I've reached the end of my hunting pack. If you can use any of this information, maybe got a little idea here or there, possibly those glow sticks, that'll be great. If not, what can I tell you? You asked, I showed, this is it. This is my life. Sweep up all these eggshells I've been walking on. I've had it. Alrighty, just going to answer a question or two, and I want to show you the results from the trail cam that I set out over those mice that I dumped in the woods. But before I do, regarding the eggshells, I just want to say I work awful hard and I do my best not to offend anyone. I'm careful about what I post, but it's a losing battle. It doesn't matter what I post. I always get complaints and criticism, and I'm tired of walking on eggshells. I showed the presidents drinking chaga for laughs, and a lot of people got a good laugh over that. And the reason I chose to show presidents was because they're faces that everybody are familiar with. And I could not find a photo of President Trump drinking coffee. All I found was him drinking cocktails. So I didn't include him in it, and because of that, people are assuming I'm swinging one way or another, and I should not have political agendas in my videos, and etc., etc. And I get a lot of comments like that, and I find them disheartening. And I can't help but wondering if Hank Williams Jr. got the same amount of flack because he made that song that said, "A country boy can survive." And he didn't include city people and African Americans and Native Americans and Asians and women and children. You know, people can't see the humor in it, and I find that saddening. So I've had enough, and I'm just going to continue my reality show with reality, the way it is. I'm sharing my life the way it is. I do my best not to offend anyone. I try not to post anything offensive. But that's just the way it is. So, now that that's out of the way, I'm going to answer some questions. What is the hardest thing about living up here? Well, that changes over time. For somebody, now I'm going to answer this for us because it was asking me, but for most people transitioning off grid, the hardest thing for us in the beginning was refrigeration. But we've got that under control with this wonderful ice box, this little gas fridge in my gas freezer. It's under control. Everything is great. The most difficult thing for us is wintertime transportation. But I'm going to put a set of tracks on the Ranger after going one winter without them. And I think that is going to have all of that under control. But really, you adapt to this kind of lifestyle and life is good. And you just have to weigh the pros and cons in your mind because there's struggles with this lifestyle, but there's struggles with every lifestyle, and you trade off one for the other, and you just have to keep that in your mind. You always be grateful for what you have. Don't cry about what you don't have. Trade it off, keep the proper mindset, and life is good. Okay, now last week I dumped a bucket of mice. I put the trail camera on it. People have been anxious to see what's going on with that. Surprisingly, during the daylight hours, I've had red squirrels and chipmunks and a bird come to nibble on the mice. And at nighttime, there was mice coming to eat the mice. Now that was barbaric. Also at nighttime, a pair of coyotes came and cleaned them up. Some fine-looking specimens there. But that's the way it works in nature, okay? One animal feeds on another, which feeds on another, which feeds on another. I don't care if it's a bird or a fish or an animal. In nature, that's the way it works. And people, when they surround themselves with pavement and concrete, they kind of forget that us human beings are originally part of nature. Some chose to domesticate themselves in the big cities and so on, and others kind of like to live like I do. I'm killing the mice, I put them out back, and I'm feeding the animals. It's a win-win. Yep. So, that is it for now, folks. We will see you next Sunday. You all have a wonderful weekend. All the best to you. God bless.
Frankie and the boss out walking in the woods, living life happy and free. Tracks in the snow everywhere they go. There's a porky way up in that tree. A beaver built a pond where they have some fun, taking life a day at a time. Best friends until the end. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss.